Hi guys. This past week I had the opportunity to go to my convention down in San Antonio where all of the music educators in the state get together. I saw a lot of my college friends, a lot of colleagues, a lot of former students, and interestingly enough we found ourselves talking about the YouTube channel, and I got quite a few questions about my friends' own personal situations. So I decided that I wanted to make a video about the most common questions that I get. And today, we're going to talk about the 5 most frequently asked questions. My name is Caleb, and you're watching The Future Millionaire Teacher. Before we get started with the frequently asked questions, if you like the videos that I've been putting out, please give this video a like and a subscribe. And if you have any suggestions on how I can make my channel better, or maybe a video idea that you might have, feel free to comment below or shoot me a message. I would really appreciate that. The first question that I always get is, where do I start? Where do I begin? How do I get all of this under control? So I always tell people the things that Dave Ramsey would say, which would be buy the Total Money Makeover, make a complete list of all of your debts, and then get on a written budget. The Total Money Makeover I talked about in the very first video that I ever made completely changed my life. The second thing, make a total list of all of your debts. So that includes your student loans, your car payment. Are you financing any of your furniture? Do you have a monthly cell phone payment in addition to your data plan? Do you have medical bills? Do you have any bad credit cards? Are you past due on any of your credit cards? All of your debt. And then thirdly, get on a written budget. Again, I'm a huge Dave Ramsey fan, so I use the Every Dollar app, and there's a link up here to the video where I actually go through one of my months and how I make my budget. The second question is regarding the emergency fund. And interestingly enough, most people ask me, have I ever needed more than my $1,000 in the emergency fund? Now, I've been doing this debt-free thing, this debt-free journey, for 3.5 years. And I've only ever had to even dip into my emergency fund twice. And both of those issues were related to my car. I had some mechanical issues, needed to make a repair, had to get a new catalytic converter, I had to get a new drive shaft, and in 1 month I used all of my emergency fund and almost all the money that I had budgeted to pay down for my debt. But in the 3.5 years that I've been doing this, I've never needed more than what I had. And I think this is the case because the most expensive thing that I own is my car. All the other high ticket items I could either pay for outright with my emergency fund, or I don't pay for it all because I don't own, because I'm renting. For example, my washer dryer, they're part of the apartment. The fridge, part of the apartment. Anything major that goes wrong in the apartment, I don't have to cover because I'm renting, and that's part of the landlord's responsibility. But in short, I've never needed, absolutely needed, to use more than my $1,000 in the emergency fund. The next question that I get a lot is regarding multiple credit cards, multiple student loans, and if you should refinance them. Now, I personally have never refinanced anything. From what I understand about refinancing, you take multiple debts, combine them into one, and theoretically get a lower interest rate and a lower monthly payment. Now, even though this might be the case, at best, I would imagine that you're saving maybe 2 to 3% on the overall interest. Overall, I think refinancing is a helpful tool to help dig yourself out of debt, but I don't think it's the big shovel that some of my friends think that it might be. A lot of my former students, a lot of my friends who are also teachers, will ask me if I use the 10-year civil servant repayment plan or the public service loan forgiveness plan. In the link up here, I clearly describe why I'm adamantly opposed to it. And that's for several reasons, not the least of which is I don't plan on being in debt for 10 years. To me, I don't mind making several large payments in a short amount of time as opposed to making lots of little payments over a longer period of time without the complete guarantee that those loans will actually be forgiven. And the video that I made last week goes into pretty thorough and passionate detail about why I'm not for the 10-year plans. The fifth question is, usually once the conversation gets going and I'm talking to friends on Facebook Messenger or at convention or if they're texting me, is how they can make their payments larger. How can they find more money in their budget? So the answer is really simple and really obvious, but it's a way of thinking more so than a specific answer. And the idea is, you look at all of your fixed monthly expenses and you figure out how you can make them lower. For example, when I was in Houston, my rent was about $1,000 the first few months that I lived there until I decided to add a roommate, which obviously cut my rent. And then again, 2 years later, I moved into a larger house, had more roommates, and it cut my rent payment even lower. Rent is essentially the largest expense that most of us have, so anything that we can do to cut down on that monthly expense is going to pay dividends. Also, other fixed monthly expenses that I have that I've cut would be some of the utilities. So for example, I cut the cord, saved about 50 bucks a month doing that. And in fact, I made a video talking about all of the small and large things that I've done to find the extra money in my budget. And more importantly, as I've gotten through this process, I've learned that it's kind of a game, trying to find extra money here and there. You know, am I budgeting enough gas money? Can I take a little bit for my grocery money? Do I really need all this restaurant money? As the months go on, I find that I become better and better and better at predicting what money I need and don't need, and where the extra money in the budget actually exists. So that's a quick video. Those are the 5 most common questions that I've been asked since I've started my YouTube channel. I hope that you find those helpful. If there are other questions that you have about getting started on getting your money and finances in control and paying off your debt, feel free to comment below. Shoot me a message, most of you guys do. And as always, thanks for watching.